The neon signs of Outpost 47 flickered through the station's containment field, casting purple and blue shadows across Sarah Chen's workshop. Her hands moved with practiced precision as she reassembled the quantum drive of a mining vessel, the familiar scent of engine oil and ozone filling the air. 20 years of fixing everything from luxury cruisers to salvage ships had earned her a reputation as the best mechanic in the Outer Rim, though she never bragged about it. The station's warning klaxon shattered her concentration. Sarah looked up from her work, wiping grease from her weathered hands. Through the massive observation window, she watched as an unfamiliar ship limped toward the docking bay, its hull emanating strange pulses of bioluminescent light. The vessel's design defied everything she knew about spacecraft engineering. Organic curves melded seamlessly with crystalline structures, and what appeared to be living tissue pulsed beneath translucent panels. "Control, this is Chen's repairs." Sarah keyed her comm. "That ship's putting out some weird energy signatures. You sure it's safe to dock?" "Cleared by quarantine." "Chen," the controller replied. "Pilot's requesting you specifically. Says it's urgent." Sarah frowned. In 2 decades of repairs, she'd never seen technology like this. "Copy that. I'll prep Bay 3. The ship's docking was unlike anything she'd witnessed. Instead of traditional landing gear, tendrils of what looked like liquid metal extended from its hull, securing it to the bay floor. The boarding ramp didn't so much extend as grow from the ship's side, forming a graceful arch to the deck. The alien that emerged moved like flowing water, nearly 7 feet tall, with iridescent skin that shifted colors with each movement. Its form seemed to constantly reshape itself while maintaining a vaguely humanoid appearance. 4 arms emerged from its torso, each ending in fingers that looked more like fiber-optic cables than flesh. "You are Sarah Chen." The alien's voice resonated directly in her mind, neither male nor female, but something entirely different. "I am Nexera. My vessel requires your expertise." Sarah managed to keep her professional demeanor, though her heart raced. What seems to be the problem? Damage from an encounter. Nexera's form rippled with what Sarah interpreted as anxiety. The ship's neural network is destabilizing. Without repair, the consciousness will fade. Consciousness. Sarah's eyes widened. "You mean the ship is alive?" "All ships of the Nexus are alive," Nexera explained. "This one's name is Starweaver. It is young, barely a century old. Please, help." Sarah approached the ship, her hand hovering over its hull. The surface responded to her proximity, changing color and texture. "I've never worked on anything like this. I could make things worse." "You underestimate yourself." Sarah Chen. Nexera's form shifted closer. "Your reputation speaks of one who understands machines at their deepest level. Starweaver chose you. It sensed your capability across light years." Before Sarah could respond, the ship's hull parted like liquid mercury, revealing its internal systems. What she saw took her breath away. Instead of traditional mechanical components, the ship's engine room was a vast chamber of crystalline structures interwoven with what appeared to be organic tissue. Pulses of energy flowed through transparent conduits like blood through veins. "The neural pathways are degrading," Nexera explained. "The damage spreads. Will you help?" Sarah ran her fingers along a crystalline structure, feeling an electric tingle. The ship actually shivered in response. Her mind raced with possibilities, professional curiosity overriding her caution. "I'll need to understand how these systems work together. Can you teach me?" "Better." Nexera extended one of its fiber-optic fingers towards Sarah's forehead. "I can show you." Sarah hesitated for just a moment before nodding. The instant Nexera's finger touched her skin, her mind exploded with information. She saw the ship's systems as they truly were, not merely machinery, but a complex symphony of biology, technology, and consciousness. She understood how energy flowed through the neural networks, how the crystalline matrices stored and processed information, how the organic components adapted and healed. When the vision ended, Sarah staggered slightly, steadying herself against the hull. That was incredible. She looked at the ship with new eyes, seeing both the damage and the way to repair it. I can help, but it won't be easy. We'll need to stabilize the neural networks first, then regenerate the damaged pathways. You see truly. Nexera's form brightened. Name your price. Sarah was already reaching for her tools, her mind racing with the new knowledge she'd gained. Let's save your ship first, then we can talk payment. She paused, looking directly at Nexera. But I want to know what really caused this damage. These patterns. This wasn't an accident. Nexera's form darkened momentarily. You are perceptive as well as skilled. Yes, there is more to tell. But first, please, help Starweaver. As Sarah began her work, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was stepping into something far bigger than a simple repair job. The living ship hummed beneath her hands, and in its crystalline depths, she saw reflections of things that shouldn't be possible. Whatever Nexera was running from, whatever had caused this damage, Sarah was now involved. And something told her that her life would never be the same. Deep within Starweaver's neural core, Sarah worked through her third straight shift. Her hands moved through the crystalline matrices with growing confidence, though each repair required intense concentration. The ship's living systems responded to her touch in ways that still amazed her, tendrils of energy following her movements like curious fingers. The primary neural pathway is stabilizing, she reported, watching as the damaged crystals slowly regenerated under her guidance. But there's something else here that doesn't make sense. Nexera floated nearby, its form reflecting the pulsing lights of the ship's core. Explain. Sarah traced a pattern through the neural network, her fingers leaving trails of light in their wake. These damage patterns are systematic. Someone knew exactly where to hit to cause maximum trauma while keeping the ship alive. This wasn't just an attack, it was torture. The alien's form rippled with what Sarah had learned to recognize as distress. You understand more than expected. 20 years fixing ships, you learned to read stories in the damage. Sarah straightened up, wiping sweat from her brow. Someone was looking for information, weren't they? They tried to force their way into Starweaver's consciousness. The chamber's light dimmed noticeably. Through her growing connection with the ship's systems, Sarah felt a wave of remembered pain and fear. Nexera moved closer, its form shifting to block the main entrance. The Void Consortium, Nexera finally admitted. They seek what we protect. Knowledge that could reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Starweaver is one of our youngest vessels, but also one of our most important. It carries secrets. Sarah's hand rested on a neural cluster, feeling the ship's pulse. What kind of secrets are worth torturing a living being for? The key to evolution itself. Nexera's voice resonated with both pride and fear. The Nexus discovered how to bridge the gap between organic and mechanical life. Not merely interfaces or cybernetics, but true synthesis. The next step in conscious evolution. As if in response to Nexera's words, a section of the neural matrix shifted, revealing a hidden chamber. Inside, Sarah saw something that defied explanation. A swirling vortex of energy and matter, neither fully physical nor purely energy. The seed of synthesis, Nexera explained. The culmination of 1,000 years of research. With it, any species could transcend their physical limitations, evolve beyond the constraints of purely organic or mechanical existence. Sarah stared at the seed, understanding dawning. And the consortium wants to weaponize it. Control who gets to evolve and who doesn't. Yes. Nexera's form darkened. They would use it to enslave developing worlds, offering evolution only to those who submit to their rule. We have protected the seed for centuries, moving it between our ships, staying one step ahead. But they are growing desperate. The attack on Starweaver was closer than ever before. A warning alarm blared through the station. Sarah rushed to a neural interface, her hands dancing across the living controls she now understood. 3 ships just dropped out of hyperspace, military grade, running dark. They'd followed us. Nexera's form contracted with alarm. The damage must have left a quantum trace they could track. We must flee. No. Sarah's voice was firm. Starweaver's neural network isn't stable enough for hyperspace. Another jump could shatter its consciousness completely. She turned to face the alien, her expression determined. We make our stand here. This is not your fight, Sarah Chen. We have already risked too much by involving you. You involved me the moment you chose my station, Sarah replied, her hands never stopping their work on the ship's systems. Besides, I've never let a patient die in my bay, and I'm not about to start now. Through her connection to the ship's systems, Sarah felt Starweaver's gratitude and its fear. The vessel was young, scared, but also fiercely determined. She sent back reassurance through the neural link, surprising herself with how natural it felt. I have an idea, she said, moving quickly through the ship's chambers. But I'll need access to Starweaver's core systems. All of them. And we'll have to work fast. Nexera studied her for a long moment, its form shifting through patterns Sarah hadn't seen before. You continue to exceed expectations, Sarah Chen. What you ask, it has never been granted to a non-Nexus being. Then I'll be the first. Sarah's hands were already moving across the neural interfaces, her mind racing with possibilities. Those consortium ships are armed for capital ship combat. But this is my station, my territory. And I know a few tricks they won't expect. As the consortium ships drew closer, Sarah Chen, a human mechanic from the Outer Rim, began the most ambitious repair and modification of her career. With time running out and the lives of everyone aboard the station at risk, she would have to find a way to merge human ingenuity with Nexus technology in ways neither species had imagined possible. And somewhere in the depths of Starweaver's neural core, the seed of synthesis pulsed with growing intensity, as if responding to the unprecedented collaboration taking place around it. Sarah's fingers flew across Starweaver's neural interfaces as the consortium ships approached. Through the station's viewports, she could see their predatory silhouettes, black angular vessels bristling with weapons, a stark contrast to the organic elegance of Nexus design. Station security is evacuating the civilian sections, she reported, her mind split between multiple systems. But we've got less than 20 minutes before they're in weapons range. Their boarding pods are primed, Nexera observed, its form now pulsing with rapid patterns of light. They will attempt to take Starweaver intact. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Counting on it, her hands sank deeper into the neural matrix, and Starweaver's consciousness brushed against her mind with growing familiarity. I've been studying your ship's systems. The neural network doesn't just control navigation and life support. It can rewrite itself, adapt to new configurations almost instantly. Understanding flickered through Nexera's form. You intend to use Starweaver's adaptive capabilities as a weapon. Better. Sarah pulled up a holographic display of the station's layout. I'm going to turn the whole station into an extension of Starweaver's neural network. Every system, every power conduit, every maintenance bot, all linked through the ship's consciousness. Impossible, Nexera protested. The technological gap is too vast. Human systems are too primitive to interface with Nexus biotechnology. Maybe for the Nexus, Sarah's eyes gleamed with determination. But humans, we've been jury-rigging incompatible systems since we first left Earth. Sometimes the clumsy solution is the one they don't expect. Her hands moved in a blur, making connections that shouldn't have been possible. She used industrial welding lasers to inscribe crystalline patterns into the station's hull, creating crude but functional neural pathways. Maintenance nanites were reprogrammed to carry Starweaver's energy signatures. Emergency force fields were modified to pulse in sync with the ship's consciousness. Starweaver understands, she explained, feeling the ship's growing excitement. It's young, adaptable, not set in its ways like older vessels might be. It sees the potential. The consortium ships entered weapons range. Their first salvo of warning shots illuminated the station's shields. "Attention Outpost 47." A harsh voice crackled over the comm. "We know you harbor a Nexus vessel. Surrender it immediately or face destruction." Sarah keyed the comm, her voice steady. "This is Sarah Chen, Station Chief Mechanic. The vessel you're pursuing is under my protection and currently undergoing critical repairs. Any interference could result in catastrophic system failure." A burst of harsh laughter answered her. "A human mechanic. Step aside. Primitive. You have no conception of what you're dealing with." "Maybe not," Sarah replied, her hands completing the final connections. "But I'm a quick study." She slammed her palms onto the main neural interface, and Starweaver's consciousness surged through the hybrid network she'd created. The station's lights pulsed with bioluminescence. Force fields rippled with organic patterns. Every screen, every display, every system came alive with the same awareness. The first consortium boarding pods launched, streaking toward the station like mechanical bullets. But as they approached, they found their targeting systems confused by shifting gravitational fields, their sensors overwhelmed by impossible energy readings. "Now," Sarah commanded, and the station's newly awakened systems responded. Maintenance bots swarmed from their bays, their simple programming enhanced by Starweaver's consciousness. They attached themselves to the boarding pods, their welding tools carving disruptive patterns into the hulls. Emergency force fields flickered in and out of existence, appearing inside the pod's mechanical systems rather than around them. "Impossible," the consortium commander's voice crackled with static. "What are you doing?" "Teaching an old station new tricks," Sarah replied, watching as her hybrid system performed better than she'd dared hope. The maintenance bots were acting with near-organic coordination, anticipating the pod's movements. The station's crude neural pathways were learning, adapting, becoming more efficient with each passing second. But the consortium ships weren't finished. Their main weapons powered up, preparing to overwhelm the station's defenses with brute force. "Sarah Chen," Nexara's voice carried a note of warning. "They will not be stopped by clever defenses alone. The consortium never retreats, never surrenders once committed. Good thing I'm not done then." Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the full flow of energy through the hybrid network she'd created. "Because neither do I." As the consortium ships moved in for the kill, Sarah Chen prepared to demonstrate just how dangerous a human mechanic could be when given access to advanced alien technology. The real battle for Outpost 47 was about to begin, and with it, perhaps the future of human-alien relations itself. The consortium's first full attack hit the station like a thunderstorm in space. Energy beams powerful enough to crack planets lashed out at Outpost 47's shields. But where they expected to find primitive human defenses, they encountered something entirely new. Sarah stood within Starweaver's neural core, her consciousness now intimately linked with both ship and station. Through the hybrid network, she felt every impact, every surge of power, every response of her jerry-rigged systems. "Their weapons are disrupting the neural pathways on sectors 3 through 7, Nexara reported, its form rippling with concern. "Let them," Sarah replied, her voice distant as she focused on the network. "The pathways are designed to fail." As the consortium weapons penetrated the outer defenses, they encountered what appeared to be critical systems. But these were decoys, simple neural loops that, when destroyed, released bursts of stored energy back along the attack vectors. The consortium ship's own weapons became conduits, feeding power back into their systems in ways their engineers never anticipated. "Two of their primary weapon arrays are overloading," Sarah announced, allowing herself a small smile. "But they're adapting, switching to projectile weapons and fighter drones." Through the station's sensors, she watched as swarms of combat drones launched from the consortium vessels. They were beautiful in their deadly precision, moving in perfect formation as they approached the station. "Time to show them what Starweaver can really do," Sarah muttered, diving deeper into the neural link. The maintenance bots she'd modified responded instantly, their movements now guided by both her human intuition and Starweaver's growing consciousness. They formed their own swarms, using the station's irregular architecture for cover. As the consortium drones attacked, they found themselves engaged in combat unlike anything their programming could comprehend. Simple repair tools became weapons. Welding lasers sliced through drone armor. Magnetic grapples yanked fighters off course. Most surprisingly, the bots began to coordinate in increasingly complex patterns, learning and adapting to their opponent's tactics in real time. Remarkable, Nexera observed. The hybrid network, it's evolving. Sarah nodded, feeling the changes herself. The crude neural pathways she created were becoming more sophisticated with each passing moment. Human technology and Nexus biotech weren't just coexisting. They were learning from each other, creating something entirely new. But the consortium commanders weren't fools. Recognizing the threat, they changed tactics. Their largest vessel moved into position, its hull splitting open to reveal something that made Nexera's form pulse with alarm. Consciousness disruptor, the alien warned. It will destroy Starweaver's mind, and yours if you remain linked to the network. Sarah gritted her teeth as the weapon powered up. They can try. The disruptor fired, sending waves of quantum interference washing over the station. Sarah felt Starweaver's consciousness waver, its neural patterns threatening to dissolve. Pain lanced through her own mind as the hybrid network began to collapse. But instead of breaking the connection, she pushed deeper. Sarah Chen, you must disconnect, Nexera urged. The human mind was not meant to withstand such attacks. Maybe not, Sarah gasped. But human minds can do something your ships can't. She forced her eyes open, blood trickling from her nose. We can improvise. Through the pain, Sarah reached out to every part of the hybrid network. Instead of fighting the disruption, she let it flow through the system. The crude neural pathways she created began to shift, their very simplicity becoming an advantage. Where Nexus technology would have shattered, the hybrid network bent and adapted. The seed, she managed to say. We need its power, not to evolve beyond what we are, but to become more of what we already are. Nexera hesitated only a moment before moving to the hidden chamber. The seed of synthesis pulsed with impossible energy as the alien transferred it to the main neural core. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. The seed's power surged through the hybrid network, but instead of forcing evolution, it enhanced what was already there. Human ingenuity met Nexus consciousness in an explosion of potential. The station's systems transformed, becoming something neither species had imagined possible. Maintenance bots merged into new forms, their movements now fluid and organic. Force fields took on impossible configurations, bending space itself around the station. Even the recycled air seemed to come alive with possibility. Through it all, Sarah Chen stood at the center. Her mind expanded beyond normal human limits, but still fundamentally herself. She wasn't becoming something else. She was becoming more of what she had always been. A mechanic who could see the potential in broken things, who could make connections others thought impossible. The consortium ships faltered as their sensors tried to make sense of what the station had become. Their disruptor weapon, designed to attack pure consciousness, had no effect on this hybrid evolution. Last chance, Sarah broadcast to the enemy vessels, her voice resonating with both human determination and Nexus harmony. Retreat, or discover exactly what happens when human creativity meets Nexus potential. The real question now was whether the consortium would accept their defeat or force Sarah to demonstrate just how far this new evolution could go. For a long moment, space itself seemed to hold its breath. The transformed Outpost 47 pulsed with impossible energies, its hybrid systems humming with potential. The consortium ships hung motionless, their commanders facing a decision that would reshape galactic history. They chose war. Maximum power to all weapons, the consortium commander's voice boomed across all frequencies. Destroy everything. Leave no trace. Sarah felt their decision ripple through the neural network. So be it. The consortium ships unleashed everything they had. planet-cracking energy beams, quantum torpedoes, dimensional shredders. But the station had evolved beyond conventional physics. The hybrid network Sarah had created didn't just defend against the attacks. It absorbed them, learned from them, repurposed them. Your weapons are just information, Sarah broadcast. Her consciousness expanded through the network. And information can be rewritten. Through the neural link, she reached into the attacking ship's systems, not to destroy, but to understand. She saw their crews, beings of various species, all enhanced with cybernetic implants, all bound to the consortium's rigid hierarchy. They weren't evil. They were trapped in a system that feared change it couldn't control. Look, she commanded, using the hybrid network to share her vision. Look at what we've created here. Not domination, not control. Partnership. The hybrid network projected images throughout the consortium ships. Maintenance bots dancing with living metal. Force fields weaving patterns of impossible beauty. Human and Nexus technology singing in harmony. It showed them a future where evolution meant cooperation, not conquest. Some of the consortium crews began to waver, their implants resonating with the hybrid frequency. But their commanders, bound by decades of doctrine, pressed their attack. Now Sarah Chen, Nexera urged, while their conviction falters, show them the full potential. Sarah nodded, reaching deeper into the network. The seed of synthesis pulsed in response, its power flowing not outward, but inward. Instead of forcing change, it amplified understanding. Every system on the consortium ships, from weapons to life support, carried the same basic patterns, the universal language of technology. Sarah didn't hack their systems. She spoke to them, offering a new way of being. Ship by ship, the consortium vessels began to transform, not through violence, but through revelation. Their rigid militaristic architecture softened, becoming more organic. Their weapon systems repurposed themselves into tools of creation rather than destruction. Even their crews' cybernetic implants evolved, becoming bridges of understanding rather than chains of control. Impossible, the consortium commander whispered, watching his fleet transform. What have you done? Showed you a better way, Sarah replied, her voice tired but satisfied. Evolution isn't about becoming something else. It's about becoming more of what you truly are. The battle ended not with destruction, but with transformation. The consortium ships, now forever changed, retreated into deep space, carrying with them the seeds of a new understanding. In the aftermath, Sarah stood in Starweaver's neural core, her hand resting on the living metal. The hybrid network hummed contentedly, human and Nexus technology working in perfect harmony. The consortium will return, Nexera observed, its form shifting with new patterns of light. Perhaps not as enemies, but they will come seeking answers. Let them come, Sarah smiled, feeling the station's systems pulse in agreement. We've got a lot to teach each other. And what of you, Sarah Chen? The alien's form rippled with curiosity. You now possess knowledge that could change the course of human development. Sarah looked out at the stars, feeling both human and something more, yet still fundamentally herself. I'm a mechanic, she said simply. I fix things. Now I just have better tools to work with. She turned to face Nexera, her expression thoughtful. But you're right. This is bigger than one repair shop on the edge of space. We need to prepare. Through the neural link, she felt Starweaver's eager agreement. The living ship had grown through this experience too, learning to think in new ways, to see beyond the limitations of pure Nexus technology. The real work starts now, Sarah declared, her hands already moving through the neural interface. Making adjustments, refining connections. We need to find others, humans who can think beyond boundaries, Nexus who can adapt to new ways, even reformed consortium members who want something more than control. You propose a school, Nexera realized, its form brightening. Better. Sarah grinned. A garage. A place where different species can come together, learn from each other, and build something new. After all, She patted Starweaver's hull affectionately. The best mechanics are the ones who never stop learning. As the hybrid systems of Outpost 47 hummed with possibility, Sarah Chen, human mechanic turned evolutionary catalyst, began planning for a future where the boundaries between species and technologies were not walls to be conquered, but bridges to be built. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, as if eager to see what this new partnership would create.